boy Cmoney back with another video. Woohoo, baby! We gotta talk about Monday Night Raw. Monday Night Raw, March 16th, 2026 episode of Monday Night Raw, 316. Austin 316 day. You know, classic WWE joke. Every year, March 16th, 316, they acknowledge Stone Cold for, Austin 316 and stuff. So, right, so that was just the WWE joke, Austin 316, 316 day, all that. So, yeah, Monday Night Raw, 316 episode of Monday Night Raw, which did not feature Stone Cold, unfortunately, but still very good episode of Monday Night Raw when we're going to talk about it. Oh, baby. But first, I would just like to say, yeah, that the fact that I didn't make any videos last week, like how I said I would, that was my apologies. I was actually home last week, which I did mention. If you've seen my last video, which was Raw reactions from 2 weeks ago, where Penta won the IC title, and Roman Reigns, CM Punk, I'm gonna bury you next to your father. That episode of Monday Night Raw, that was my last video. And I mentioned there that next week, which is now last week, I was going to be home for spring break, which I was, and I said, you're going to see videos back in the old room and stuff, and it never happened. Yeah, I was home last week for spring break, and I was just, I just wasn't really in the mood to film anything, because a lot of stuff was happening with the family, and I just wanted to spend time with them. Like, we've been going through a lot of struggles lately, so I just wanted to spend time with my family, spend time with my friends back home and stuff, and just I wanted to just take a break. So that's why you didn't see any videos or anything, because I originally planned to film. I just wasn't feeling it. I'm like, you know what, I'm just gonna take this time off, spend it with my family, and just, yeah, right. So again, I apologize that there wasn't any videos. I was just, I was on break, and I was trying to enjoy that time with the family. So I apologize. I didn't mean to let you guys down. I think I needed that break, and with everything that was happening with my family and stuff, I really needed that. I needed that. So again, I appreciate your patience. I really do. But yeah, that's why I wasn't here last week. But I'm here now. I'm back at college, and we're back in the groove, and here we go. We're going to talk. I'm back. And we're going to talk about Monday Night Raw. But first, let's review some of the stuff I missed, because I missed some pretty big stuff. So let's see. So 2 SmackDowns ago, let's start there. Cody Rhodes won the championship back. He beat Drew McIntyre. And then, crazy, Cody won back the championship, which means it's going to be Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton at WrestleMania. I'm down for it. I'm very down for it. We've been waiting for this big match with Cody and Randy for so long. I'm like, yes, I'm down. Cody, Randy, I'm down for it. I was still kind of hoping like maybe we would do the Fatal 4-Way with Drew and Jacob too, but the match between Cody and Randy really does make sense. And again, we've been waiting for it for so long. I'm fine with it, especially after what happened then. All right, that was 2 SmackDowns ago. Cody won the championship, right? Last Friday on SmackDown, Randy Orton snaps, and he turns heel on Cody Rhodes. 09 Randy Orton flashbacks. Randy snapped, and he was saying how it was so easy. Like I could have just beat Drew. Why did you have to win the belt back? And he snapped. Similar way to what Cena did. They hugged. And then Randy threw him against the table, hit him with a low blow. He beat him down to a bloody pulp. He had Cody's head was in the steel steps. Randy took a chair and bang! It was so vicious attack by Randy Orton on Cody Rhodes, and again, similar to what happened last year with Cena. So now we're getting Randy and Cody, and at WrestleMania for the championship, and Randy Orton is the heel. And very, very cool, it was to see, the nostalgia of, the 09 Randy Orton, right? Now, the evil Randy Orton is back, which is very cool. It's, the one bad thing about it is that we're going to cheer Randy. Even though Randy's supposed to be the heel, we're going to cheer Randy. Cody's at that point. I love Cody Rhodes so much. You guys know that. Cody's not going to be the one that gets cheered in this match. The people are going to cheer for Randy just like how they cheered for Cena last year. they're going to cheer for Randy. That's why everyone kind of wanted, because everyone's, I guess, like, we're happy to see this Randy Orton back. Like, great, but I think Cody turning heel would have made more sense, only because, like, if they're trying to make Randy this bad guy and get him booed, he's not going to be booed. It doesn't matter what Randy Orton does, he's not going to be booed. They're going to cheer Randy in this match. So it's just, very cool what they did. I just think if they're trying to make Randy this heel, all right, he's a heel, but he's going to be cheered. Cody is going to be the one who gets booed. It's unfortunate, but that's just how it is. So that's just the one negative part about it, is the fact that, all right, Randy's a heel now, but we're still going to cheer him, right? So, yeah, so again, that whole thing. We'll talk more about that when we make SmackDown reactions, because Randy actually appears on Raw, so we'll talk about that, but he's also going to be live on SmackDown and stuff, so we'll get more information. And we'll see what happens with Cody, because Cody got destroyed, so Cody's going to have to come back guns blazing. He's going to have to come back firing, so we'll see what happens for that on SmackDown. But yeah, so that's everything on SmackDown. Jelly Roll was at SmackDown. Like, he got involved. He's probably going to be at WrestleMania because he was on Miz TV, and Kit Wilson came out, and apparently, like, it's going to be like Royce Keys, Powerhouse Hobbs, because remember, we haven't seen him since the Rumble. He's going to apparently team up with Jelly Roll to take on Miz and Kit Wilson at WrestleMania. That's a rumor. Or it might just be Jelly Roll and The Miz. I don't know. But something with that's going to happen at WrestleMania. And then Raw. Let's talk about last week's Raw that we missed. Finn Balor was turned on by the Judgment Day. The Judgment Day turned on Finn Balor, kicked him out. The Usos got involved because the Usos were very mad about what CM Punk said with I'm gonna bury you next to your father, what he said to Roman. So the Usos got in CM Punk's face, and like CM Punk was, the Usos demanded an apology, and CM Punk didn't apologize, and Usos knocked him down. So the Usos are now involved. The Bloodline is pretty much back together. They're pretty much back together. So yeah, that was But again, but that happened last week. SmackDown, Raw, all that. Yeah, that's what NXT Vengeance Day happened. That was cool. Joe Hendry still the NXT champion. All good stuff. All good stuff. Sorry I missed it. I didn't get to talk about it, but it was good. It was good. All good. All good. But now let's talk about Raw, March 16th. Raw this past Monday. Very good episode, guys. So Raw kicks off with Seth Rollins coming out with all the masked men, because this happened last week too. All these masked men showed up, just they're all running all over the place. Then emerges Seth Rollins. He takes off his thing. A similar thing happened last week. It's kind of goofy because it's just like. Last week, the Vision were going to attack Seth, but then there were a bunch of masked men and they were running around like, oh, where is he? Where is he? Where is he? Where is he? It was kind of goofy. Yeah, that was last week. Similar this week, they all come running out. They're all ringside. Then one climbs in the ring, unmasked. It's Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins gets on the mic. It's cool, but it's just, especially what happened last week, it was just weird. It was goofy. It was goofy, but. With Seth Rollins with his minions, I'm not gonna hate on it, but I think it's just weird. It's just a little weird, but it's whatever. I'm just happy to see Seth back. So Seth gets in the ring. This is how Raw opens up. Seth gets in the ring and he's I'm the one who created the Vision. I'm the one who's gonna destroy the Vision. And then he said, I don't care if you're on the shelf like Breaker and Reed. I don't care if you're still here like Logan Paul, Austin Theory. If you are associated with Paul Heyman, you're going to die. He's like, I am going to destroy anyone who's with Paul Heyman, period. Like that. That's basically what he said. And then all of a sudden, who's coming down the entranceway? Paul Heyman, and he's walking very slow. He has a black eye from when Seth Rollins attacked him and stuff. All that he's got a black eye and stuff, and he's and Seth's like, oh, look what the cat dragged in, and then he says I should have never let you in my inner circle, Paul. That was one of my biggest mistakes. Yada yada. This is what Seth is saying, and And he talked about, you know, how he put the chair on his back and how he stomped him in the mat and everything. And yeah, it's just Seth talking mad crap to Paul Heyman. And then Paul Heyman's like, he's like, I didn't want to come out here, but like, I wouldn't miss this. I wouldn't miss this. And he's like, I'm effing with you because you effed with me. And then he goes, we all know how this works. Like, we all know that the F-A-F-O, F around and find out. Yeah, F-A-F-O, F-A-F-O, F-A-F-5. Brr, brr, Brock Lesnar comes out. What a transition. I had chills. Like, just, like, the way it happened, F-A-F-5. And then his music hit. I'm just like, oh, because... I'm like, oh, because now Brock is going to go after Seth. Brock Lesnar comes out, beats the crap out of all his masked men, all of Seth's little masked minions. Brock beats the crap out of all of them. He's suplexing them. He F5s them. He even, like, there was like a group of them at ringside, and Brock goes, ah, and they run away. Brock is just, he's killing everybody, destroying them. Then he's face to face with Seth Rollins. And I'm like, okay, we're getting Brock and Seth. We're getting Brock and Seth at WrestleMania. Lights go out. Oba Femi's music hits. And I'm like, what? Oba Femi comes out. Remember, Brock Lesnar issued an open challenge at WrestleMania. And, like, we thought, could Oba Femi be the one to answer that? Because we all want to see Brock Lesnar versus Oba Femi, right? Well, if you see the thumbnail of the video, you know what happens. We're getting Brock Lesnar versus Oba Femi. Because Oba Femi gets in the ring. Brock looks at Seth. Seth gets out of the ring. Brock turns around. Oba Femi drops Brock Lesnar with the fall from grace, the power bomb. Oba Femi leaves Brock Lesnar laying. He puts his foot on him and he points at the WrestleMania sign. We're getting Oba Femi versus Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, yeah, which is what we all wanted. Let's be honest. Brock eliminated Oba from the Royal Rumble, and now we're getting Brock and Oba at WrestleMania. And we figured when Brock issued this whole open challenge, right? We're like, all right, who's going to answer it? Is it going to be Oba? Like, is it good? Like, we all thought it was going to be Seth because Brock was in the ring with Seth right there, right? And after what he did to Paul Heyman and everything, but nope, they swerved you because then out came Oba Femi. That was awesome. That was awesome. And honestly, I would have been fine with, like, the options were either like Brock and Seth, Brock and LA Knight, that was another one, or like Brock and Oba. Like that, I think those were some of the big choices. And Brock and Oba is the one that, everyone wanted, and it's the one we're getting. So Brock and Oba, that's going to be one hell of a fight, which Oba Femi has to win. No ifs, ands, or buts. Oba Femi has to win this match. And there's this whole rumor going around about how, like, Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman, they don't want Brock to lose a match until his last match. So basically, Brock and Paul Heyman want Brock to win every single match until his last match, well, then he'll lose. And this isn't going to be his last match, this match with Oba, so... Right, the rumor is Brock's going to retire at SummerSlam, maybe, because it's going to be in Minneapolis, right? And that's, like, his hometown, all that. So, like, and the whole rumor is that Brock and Paul Heyman don't want Brock to lose a match until his last match. So, but he can't beat Oba Femi at WrestleMania. He can, because this match isn't going to be Brock's last match. He's going to have more after this, a little bit more. So, but he can't lose. Like, I get it, they don't want Brock to lose and all that, but no, you can't have Brock beat Oba. You can't. Like, Oba needs this win. This is a huge win for Oba. He has to win. We'll talk more about that as this boils over, but and it's official though. We're getting Brock Lesnar and Oba Femi at WrestleMania, which is so exciting. But just what an opening segment, because we all thought it was going to be Brock and Seth, and then Oba Femi came out, and that was great. But again, it begs the question though: what is Seth Rollins doing at WrestleMania? what is LA Knight doing at WrestleMania? Because my two options for who Brock was going to face, if it wasn't OBA, it was going to be like Seth or LA Knight. I thought, if it was, because of their history with Paul Heyman and everything, right, and the Vision and all that. So, but OBA Femi's facing Brock. So what's LA Knight and Seth going to do at Mania? Like, is somehow Braun Breaker going to come back? Like, or is it too early? Like, and he's going to face Seth? I don't know. That question still stands. Who were Seth and LA Knight going to face at WrestleMania? Like, what? We're going to have to wait and find out. But what a way to open the show. Then we had El Grande Americano versus original El Grande Americano. Ludwig Kaiser versus Chad Gable. Ludwig Kaiser, El Grande Americano, gets the victory, beating OG Chad Gable, OG El Grande Americano, because OG El Grande Americano went for like a flying headbutt, but what's his name? Bravo Americano slipped in one of like El Grande Americano's like buddies slipped in that steel plate into Ludwig Kaiser, El Grande Americano's mask. So when OG El Grande Americano hit the flying headbutt, he connected with the steel plate, and then other El Grande Americano put his arm on top. 1, 2, 3. So Ludwig Kaiser El Grande Americano defeats Chad Gable El Grande Americano. So very interesting. We'll probably see that at WrestleMania, mask versus mask. We'll probably see something like that. This isn't over yet. AJ Lee retained the Women's Intercontinental Championship, defeating Bayley, her first successful Women's Intercontinental title defense. But then Becky Lynch attacked her, beat her down, hit her in the face with the championship, and all that. So, okay, so what does this mean? Are we getting Becky and AJ at WrestleMania? Like, right? Like, I assume. I don't know. We'll see what happens with this. We'll see how AJ responds and all that. Penta went one-on-one with Dragon Lee for the Intercontinental Championship. And what a match. Penta with the victory in the end, retaining over Dragon Lee. We didn't see Finn Balor, unfortunately. I wanted to see Finn Balor after the fallout of him being kicked out of the group and everything, because Liv Morgan had this whole promo saying how, like, she planned to kick Finn out of the group from, like, day one. Like, she's been wanting Finn out for, like, a long time, and she kind of planned this. She said how, like, Finn Balor held Dominic down, held JD down, and, like, how Finn Balor got soft and everything, and how, like, like, it was needed that he was kicked out and all that. Like, it was the right move. And all that. And I'm like, okay, Liv, but shut up. I'm sorry. I love Liv, but no, I'm like, girl, you, because I'm telling you, I am telling you guys, if I am wrong, you can say I'm wrong, but the demon, I'm sensing it. I am sensing the demon. The demon has to come. It's because of how personal this is. Like, this is so... if you hear the speakers in the background, if you can't hear that, that's my dorm. It's my residence hall I'm in. Ignore that. If you can even hear it. I don't know, but it keeps happening. The demon Finn Balor. Like, with how personal this is between Dom and Judgment Day and Finn has to bring back the demon. He has to. This is so personal to where you have to bring back the demon. And the demon has to fight. It has to happen, please. Please. Ew, my hair. Hat hair. Please. Like, but just, it was like a good promo from Liv, and then she was talking about Stephanie, because then Stephanie went one-on-one with Raquel Rodriguez. We'll talk about that in a second. So she was talking about that too, but just, it's interesting, though. Liv Morgan planned to kick Finn Balor out of the group from day one. Like, she's been planning to kick out Finn for, like since day one. Like, really? Like, and she only didn't because of Finn's relationship with Dom. I'm like, okay, Liv. Okay, I guess. I don't know. But cool promo, though. I really want to see how Finn Balor responds. I really want to see... we just have to wait till next week. But then, all right, let's talk about it. Stephanie Vaquer defeats Raquel Rodriguez in a one-on-one match. Liv Morgan got involved, was at ringside. Io Sky came from out of nowhere, and got involved. Distractions outside. Stephanie Vaquer picks up the victory, right? So now it's like, wait a minute, what if... Because a rumor is that Raquel... Because Raquel and Liv are going to break up soon. We know it's going to happen. It has to, right? So, like, people were saying, all right, what if Raquel gets added to this match and makes it a triple threat, right? But Io Sky, what is she doing out here? Is she going to be inserted into this, and it's going to be a fatal four-way? Maybe, like, Liv, Stephanie, Raquel, Io? That could happen. Why not? Like, I don't know. But the point is that they're leaning towards Raquel and Liv breaking up. I don't know if that's going to happen at WrestleMania, if it's going to happen before. Raquel's going to get added to the match. I don't know if Io will be added to it because that was kind of random. But we'll see. We'll see. Very interesting, though, the whole thing, though. Natty defeated Maxine Dupree again. So, okay, that's whatever. Maxine Dupree, very interesting. Because then, all right, let's get into this. Logan Paul and Austin Theory talk with Paul Heyman backstage, and Paul Heyman says how we got to go after the tag titles, which is what I figured what would happen. Most likely for WrestleMania. Well, next week it's going to be the Usos and the Vision in a non-title match, non-title tag team match. Which the Vision will probably win, and then it'll lead to the Vision and the Usos having the title match at WrestleMania, which makes sense, because I was wondering what they were going to do with, like, because Austin Theory and Logan Paul, like, I knew they weren't going to do something with Seth, because I'm like, unless they would do a tag match and Seth would find a partner, but otherwise, like, Seth wasn't going to face either of them one-on-one or anything, so it makes sense that the Vision's going to go after the Usos, especially because, like, all right. I'm getting ahead of myself. We'll talk about this more at the end when we talk about Roman and Punk, but the Vision is going after the tag belts, and they're going to face the Usos in a non-title match next week, which will lead to probably them having a title match at WrestleMania. That makes sense, though. The Vision going after the Usos, that makes sense. But in a little backstage, it was a backstage thing. In the background, I forget who it was, but in the background of a promo, you can see Austin Theory is talking with Maxine Dupree. And then Logan Paul shows up and he's like, hey, what are you doing? Let's go. But Austin Theory was talking to Maxine Dupree, just in the background. And you're like, wait a minute. Huh? So, like, is Maxine Dupree going to join the Vision? Are they going to form some kind of new faction? Is CM Punk going to be the leader of that? Wink, wink. We're going to talk about that at the end. I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself, but we are going to talk about that. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. It was an interview between Bayley and Stephanie I'm sorry, Bayley and Lyra, and then Asuka and Kyrie, and Austin Theory and Maxine Dupree were in the background. That's it. I'm sorry, I forgot. But yes, it was like a segment between them four, and then Austin Theory and Maxine were in the background. But yeah, but like Maxine Dupree, could she be joining the Vision? Are they going to have a new faction with CM Punk? Again, we're going to talk about it, I promise. But I'm getting ahead of myself. But yes, but the Vision is going to go after the Usos and the tag belts. Which, by the way, someone brought this up, and it's very valid. Why don't the Usos carry the tag belts? Like, the Usos haven't been wearing the tag belts. Which is, your tag team champions wear your titles. Why aren't they wearing their titles? Like, when they were in with CM Punk last week, when they're with Roman this week, they're not wearing their titles. Why? Wear your titles, right? I don't know. That was just, I don't know, a very valid point. Wear your titles. Like, someone brought that up. Why aren't they wearing their titles? Wear the titles. But whatever. I love Danhausen. Danhausen, the past few weeks, Danhausen, again, everyone wants to hate on his debut and everything, but Danhausen, I think, Danhausen is definitely growing on people, because he's funny. Every backstage segment so far has been funny. This time he cursed the New Day. He did a whole thing with Kofi Kingston and Grayson Waller, and he cursed him, but like Kofi like moved Grayson Waller in the way, so he's like, "Wait, what did you do? He cursed me, not you." He's like, "Wait, I'm cursed." And then Danhausen, he disappears and stuff. It's funny. because like but before this happened with Danhausen, Kofi was talking to Javon because Kofi was trying to get Javon Evans to join them. He started that last week, and Javon's like, yeah, no, I'm not joining you guys. And then Danhausen showed up, and they did their whole thing. But yeah, that was funny though. Danhausen is generally funny. He's growing on people. He's funny. He's awesome. So that was very cool. Let's see what's next. Randy Orton. I said Michael Cole had a little interview with Randy Orton. It was quick. Randy was on the phone with somebody, and he's like, saying, oh yeah, all this, thank you. He's on the phone with someone, and it's like, okay, who was that? Who was he talking to? And then he's like, Michael, I know we were supposed to do this interview, but I'm not going to. He was supposed to do this interview with Michael Cole, like via satellite, whatever. And he's like, no, I changed my mind. I'm not going to do it, And then he leads off with this. He says how, he's going to obviously be in person on SmackDown and he'll explain everything. But he says, I talked to someone and because, everyone's been asking me, why'd you do this? Why'd you do that? All that. But then someone actually wanted to have a conversation with me and, I realized who I was and he's like, I'm a killer. And then he says wrestling has more than one royal family. And then that's it. So that obviously is the beginning of Cody Rhodes's music. So what's Randy talking about? Who's he on the phone with? Is it everyone saying The Rock? Is it The Rock? Yeah. Is it Ted DiBiase? Legacy? Because when he said wrestling has more than one royal family, was he referring to Ted DiBiase, the DiBiase family? Was he referring to his own family, the Orton family? Who was he referring to? Yeah. Randy, what are you doing, bro? Right. So we're going to see what happens on SmackDown, and we're going to see what happens with this, because Randy Orton, he's being sneaky. Yeah, so this whole thing is Randy and Cody. This whole thing is going to be very interesting. I'm very excited. So yeah, all good stuff. But now let's talk about Roman and Punk, because, all right, we've seen Roman a couple times during the show. So first, let's talk about what happened. So Roman Reigns arrives, right? Roman Reigns arrives. He's welcomed by the Usos. They dap up and everything, and they talk about what happened last week and them getting involved. And he's like, and then he looks at the camera and goes, Roman. He's like, to all my cousins, y'all should be offended about what Punk said about my father. And he's like, you know what? Before, after WrestleMania, whatever you want to get Punk, that's fine. But on that weekend, you leave Punk to me. He's mine. Basically saying, yeah, all y'all Samoans should beat the crap out of CM Punk for what he said, but not at WrestleMania. Then he's mine. And then they were talking backstage and about the apology and everything, and Roman's like, yeah, I don't need an apology from CM Punk. You guys do though. So he's like, y'all did the right thing last week, knocking him down. But he's, again, it's the bloodline. The bloodline is forming again. We can see the bloodline is forming again, which is why I talked about CM Punk and the faction, right? I talked with Maxine Dupree, the Vision. So the bloodline is forming again, and whatever. Roman says, you know what? I'm gonna go outside. I'm gonna go take care of business. That was earlier in the show. Finally, at the end, Roman Reigns comes out. He calls out CM Punk. CM Punk comes out. They stare at each other, whatever. Roman Reigns is like, he calls him Phil. Roman Reigns calls him Phil. He calls him by his real name, and CM Punk is saying, he mentioned how, I'm not going to sit here and call you Joe because that would be disrespecting, he's like, that would be disrespecting another Samoan named, my friend who's named Joe, talking about Samoa Joe. And then Roman Reigns goes, how about you call him and to ask him who the tribal chief is or something, right? It's basically talking about Samoa Joe. And then Roman Reigns, you know, was talking about how CM Punk is repetitive. He'll use the same crap. He'll say, you know, he'll call Roman Reigns a part-timer. Because CM Punk brought up, you know, how last week he's like, you know, I called you out last week, but you were too chicken shit to show up. And like the Usos came out. It was like, and he's like, I deserve what happened to me last week. You know, the Usos doing that to me, I deserve that. And he's like, it was the right message, but the wrong messenger. And then, you know, he's like, who's the real tribal chief after last week and everything? And then Roman's like, enough. Like, you're using the same crap. Like I'm a part-timer. I don't show up. Who's the real tribal chief? And I'm like, he's like, enough. He's like, you're using the same crap and then he looks at the fans. This is who you cheer for? He's insulting me with the same insults that people been using for 5 years. Oh, who's the real tribal chief? Like Jay, Jimmy, you. And then saying part-timer, all that. He's like, they've been using that crap on me for years. He's using the same stuff. And basically, he's like, Phil, until you can find something that'll really insult me, yeah, I'm done with you. He's like, I'm leaving until you can find something that can actually insult me. And then he like, you know what? It's true. Like, we get it. Roman Reigns is a part-timer. But I agree. Come up with something different. Like, and Roman even, he made a comment to the Usos. He's like, the whole world can refer to me as a part-timer. I don't care. As long as my family and my wife and kids know me as a full-time dad. And some people are kind of hating on that. I personally don't. I respect that. People are kind of hating on that. Oh, that's cringy. That's whatever. Shut up. I'm sorry. But like, no, I respect that. I do. And honestly, yeah, yes, he's a part-timer. But come up with a different insult, though. Because I love CM Punk. But yes, come up with a different insult, because that is very fair. People have been saying you're a part-time. People have been saying that to him for years. Come up with something else. Yeah. So Roman tries to leave. Punk stops him. He's like, no. He's like, my show, my ring. Get your ass back in the ring. So he gets out of the ring. He won't let him leave. He's like, get out of here. He means, get back in the ring. He's like, WrestleMania, it's going to be your last WrestleMania main event. And like, I'm going to split your ego in two. Hit you when he's saying like GTS. You're going to come crashing down, face hitting the knee. I'm going to split your ego into two. I'm going to beat you at WrestleMania. He's like, all my punkamaniacs are going to say, CM Punk, all that. And then Roman Reigns says, you know, Roman Reigns is saying how he's better than CM Punk in every way. Like, he's better looking, he's faster, he's stronger, all this. And he's like, he said how CM Punk is an embarrassment. He's making us all look bad. He's a try-hard and all this. And then Roman Reigns says, oh, well, first of all, also, I forgot to mention, because when he was talking about the part-timer stuff, he brought up AJ. And he said, you know, like, let's remind them all about how the top, you know, the top guys, like, go, how about you ask your wife? Because AJ is also part-timer, right? So, calling out AJ, right? And then Roman Reigns says to CM Punk, he says all that, I'm better than you, this, that, and then he goes, you're old. And then CM Punk knocks down Roman Reigns. He punches him, knocks him down. And then Adam Pearce and all the officials come out and they're pulling CM Punk away, but Roman's sitting there laughing. He's like, come on, hit me again. And then he goes to the camera and he's like, you know, that's all you have to do. You just got to insult him a little bit. And he snaps like that. Who's in whose head now? Because it's very valid, you know, because CM Punk's been saying how he's in Roman Reigns' head, all that. When after Raw, it looks like Roman Reigns is in CM Punk's head. Which is very valid. Very valid. Roman Reigns is in CM Punk's head, especially after that. That's what it looks like. But that was it, though. which kind of got a lot of people confused because it wasn't a bad segment between them two. It wasn't as good as their first two that they had. It wasn't like as personal. Like, yeah, AJ was brought up and all that, but it wasn't as personal as their other two interactions with each other. But everyone's kind of just wondering, like, CM Punk said to Roman Reigns, like, I'm gonna bury you next to your father, right? All Roman Reigns said was that you're old. He called him old. And that affected him that much. Like, right, like, that you're old comment was that offending to Punk that he had to hit him? Right, like, that's all it took to get under CM Punk's skin? You're old? Right, so it's just, you know, I think we were just expecting more. I think, right, for CM Punk to snap over something like that, like, you're old, that's it? Right, so it definitely wasn't a bad segment between the two. I enjoyed it. It wasn't as good as their first two, obviously, but and it's just weird the way it ended with, like, you're old and that CM Punk got mad and hit him and stuff. But the point they were trying to make, it makes sense because the point they were trying to make, I feel like they made, and that's like, Roman Reigns is in CM Punk's head. Roman Reigns is in CM Punk's head. Roman even said it himself. And he also kind of exposed CM Punk. So I feel like in that way, I think they made WWE, they did what they were trying to do. Their whole point, I think, was to show off that Roman Reigns is in CM Punk's head, and also that Roman Reigns was trying to expose CM Punk. And I feel like that's what they were trying to do. And I feel like they did it, you know. Because then they just dragged away CM Punk, and Roman was standing in the ring all cocky and stuff. So it was just weird because there was no Usos. You know, there was no really deep insults, really, like we've seen before. And it was just, you're old, and that's what got CM Punk to snap. Like that was it, just you're old. Right, so I think we were just expecting more. Yeah. But still a cool segment between them, you know. Roman Reigns, again, is in CM Punk's head, and I think that's the point they were trying to make, and I think they made it very clear. Roman Reigns is in CM Punk's head, and I think they made that point very clear, that Roman is in CM Punk's head, especially after that comment. So, and I think that's the point they were trying to make, is that Roman's in his head. That's the point they were trying to make. And I definitely think they made that very clear. So yeah, just, again, not their best segment. And I understand, yeah, we were kind of expecting more between Roman and Punk, but still very good. And again, the point they made is that Roman's in CM Punk's head. That was the whole point they were trying to make, and I think they made that. Roman's so fun. I love Roman. Love or hate Roman, I don't care. I love him. Roman is genuinely freaking phenomenal. I love him so much. But now, remember what I said about CM Punk and the faction, right? Remember what I said about CM Punk and the faction? With the Vision and Maxine Dupree, right? My whole thing with this is that, because I've been hearing some people talk about this. What if CM Punk, like, takes over the Vision and like, the Vision becomes CM Punk's faction? And, like, they help him win at WrestleMania. And so, like, what if, like, CM Punk, Logan Paul, Austin Theory, Maxine Dupree, or even if it's just, like, not Logan Paul, CM Punk, Austin Theory, Maxine Dupree, because they were talking backstage and all that, what if, like, that, because the Vision is probably going to go up against the Usos, okay, right, and for the tag titles at WrestleMania, right? So what if, like, CM Punk kind of, like, adopts the Vision, and that becomes his faction, and they help him beat Roman at WrestleMania, and CM Punk, like, turns heel? Because the way they're building this up is CM Punk is the heel. They're building it up as where CM Punk is the heel in this situation. That's what it's looking like. So what if he completely turns heel at WrestleMania by having this new faction, the Vision? Like, CM Punk would, like, take over the Vision, and they help him win at WrestleMania. What if that happens? Yeah. It's very possible. It's a bold prediction. I've heard rumors about it, but it's very possible because it makes sense with the Vision going up against the Usos and then building that up for WrestleMania and everything, and the Usos and Roman, like the bloodline pretty much being back together. Like the bloodline is pretty much back together, right? So it makes sense. What if CM Punk turned heel, took over the Vision? They added Maxine Dupree even after what we saw backstage and all that. And the Vision help CM Punk win. And Punk will like turn heel. What if that happens? That's very possible. That's very possible. But again, that's a bold prediction. We'll see how it builds up, how it continues to build up. But very interesting though. And like, again, I'm very excited for WrestleMania. Like, you know, there was kind of some hate, but there was kind of some hate going on about like how it doesn't feel like WrestleMania season. The build-up hasn't been that great. And yeah, I understand that. I definitely think though it's starting to kick up now. I think it's ever since Elimination Chamber, I think the build-up has started to kick up. It definitely felt a little bit slow, I agree, but I feel like it's starting to kick up a lot now with Brock and Oba, Cody and Randy, Roman and Punk. It's starting to kick up. So I'm very excited now. Now it feels like more WrestleMania season now. At first, I understand it was kind of slow, but I'm starting to feel it more now. I'm starting to feel the build-up and the intensity of WrestleMania. I'm starting to feel like we're on the road to WrestleMania. It feels more like the road to WrestleMania now. I feel it more. Yeah. So I'm very excited. But yeah, that was it. Very good episode of Monday Night Raw. I enjoyed it. This Roman Punk, like, oh god, WrestleMania is gonna be all right. It's gonna be good. I'm excited for it. You know, and I'm a wrestling fan. I love this stuff. I love professional wrestling. I love WWE, and you know, I'm always going to be a fan. You know, as bad as it might be, as good as it might be, I'm going to be a fan. So I'm looking forward to WrestleMania, bottom line. Thank you guys for watching. Leave a this video was long, I know, but I'm sorry. A lot of stuff to talk about, but I thank you guys for watching. Leave a comment, leave a like, subscribe for more, and Cmoney is out.